After 6 delayed flights with 3 different airlines and around 5 months of waiting, I have finally reached the promised land. Hello everyone, my name is Platinum Christy Madrid and I am a Filipina student who studies abroad in Marbella, Spain. So you could imagine my route. I took 3 connecting flights, one from Malaga to Barcelona, Barcelona to Doha, and Doha to Manila. The airline that finally brought me home was Qatar. And so Qatar Airways is the airline that I recommend for Filipinos stranded abroad so as to return home. I tried a couple of other airlines before Qatar. Qatar was the only one that did not give me any delayed flights or any postponed ones either. Therefore, if you want to save some money, save yourself from the stress of booking a flight, and make sure that you get home on the desired date, choose Qatar Airways. So, who are allowed to return to the Philippines? 1, we have the OFWs and returning residents. I am a returning resident, for example. Number 2, we have the foreign family members of Filipino passengers who now have to secure entry visas. I believe I read this on an article released just this month of August. Number 3, we have foreign crew members. Number 4, officials in foreign government or international organizations. And for other foreigners, your visa-free rights to enter the Philippines have been temporarily suspended. So after you've booked your flight with Qatar Airways, I'm about to share with you my tips that I have learned from Facebook pages like Filipinos Stranded Abroad, other peers and friends of mine who have studied or worked abroad and went home to the Philippines before me. Let us start with before the flight. So before your flight, make sure to book a hotel. One that I recommend that I stayed in is Discovery Primea. So basically, you'd have to pay in advance for your first night, and you could also avail of an optional transfer service so that you won't have to pay a taxi at the airport, for example. They'll be the ones responsible for picking you up, as well as give you the driver's phone number so that you could contact them upon arrival. Also, another reason to choose Discovery Primea is that they have such a wonderful, very accommodating hotel manager. I was lucky and blessed enough to have Miss Bell Ching assist me to make sure that I received my results on time. Miss Bell Ching was the one who helped my family and I contact people from the testing organization called PadLab to make sure that I get my results on time, and also the Bureau of Quarantine so that I can obtain my certificate for release. This is so that I could be permitted to leave the hotel and go to my own home. For step 2, make sure to fill in these forms before your flight, one for the Red Cross and one for the Bureau of Quarantine. I will be leaving their links in the description below so that you could access the forms online. Once you're done, you will need to take a screenshot of the barcodes that will be emailed back to you, or that will appear once you finish accomplishing the form. Just a side note, when filling in these forms, I used a Gmail account, although it was only after going through the whole process that I heard that Gmail was apparently experiencing some sort of technical difficulties, and there was a time when PadLab was trying to email me my results. These kept bouncing back. And so with that, I recommend that you enter and use a Yahoo account. It may be more potentially receptive to emails from your testing facility. The third tip is to ensure that you have cellular and data service once you arrive in the Philippines. This will be particularly important for when your testing facility sends you a test email or some sort of dummy email to ensure that the email address that you have entered and submitted to them is really yours so that you could receive your results effectively once they have it. Also, cellular service will be very important for situations wherein, for example, you need to contact your transfer service. Again, the transfer service booked with the hotel is optional. You could also take a taxi. However, your family members are not allowed to take you before you are released from your quarantine facility or hotel. For the fourth tip, you would also have to bring money in Philippine peso. Either in cash or credit card will do. This will be used for your testing fees. So I do believe that with Red Cross, especially for OFWs, testing is offered for free. But you could also do your testing with PadLab. They offer testing services. One option for 4,500 pesos. This will ensure that you get your results in 2 to 3 days. And then there's also another option, the rush option, for 11,700 pesos. This will ensure that you get results within 24 hours. For my case, it may be an exceptional case. I availed of the 4,500 peso option, and luckily my results were available within 24 hours, probably around 12 hours or so. I was planning to pay the higher price of 11,700 pesos to get home earlier. However, one of the nurses there informed me that apparently this had not been available for around 3 days already when I arrived. Apparently, there was an influx of inbound Filipinos who wanted to make it back home as soon as possible to say goodbye to their loved ones who had recently passed away. I paid less at 4,500 and my results were available in less than 24 hours, so I guess I was very blessed. And same goes for the other passengers on the same flight as me. All our results were obtained quite quickly. So fifth tip before your flight is to make sure you bring your own pen. This is to ensure that you won't have to touch the pens offered for public use and therefore decrease risks of infection with the coronavirus just lurking around. And also on the plane, on the last connecting flight, for example, mine was Doha to Manila, the flight attendants will be distributing health declaration cards. These are these small yellow cards wherein you'd have to write down your full name, your flight details, any symptoms you may be experiencing in relation to COVID-19. Yeah. Okay, so we come to the second portion, which is after your flight. Once you exit the plane and enter the airport, there will be a couple of attendants or so to whom you will submit your health declaration card. Next, you'd have to line up for testing. There are around 50 of us. Now, this is not a lot compared to the other stories that I've heard. Others have had to wait around 3 hours in line. But once you have submitted your health declaration card, you will come to this area in the airport where you will have to stand in either of these two lines. One with Red Cross, which is usually free, and especially for OFWs, and one with PadLab. This is the testing facility that will charge you either the 4,500 or the 11,700 price. Again, I lined up with PadLab and they gave me a bunch of forms to fill in, my personal details, my contact details. They also asked me to write down some contact details of another person in case there's any emergencies. I wrote down the details of my mom. Another form that they will give you some sort of letter of affidavit that you will submit later on. Once you have paid for the testing fees, either in cash or credit card, they will also be giving you an OR. Also, it is somewhere in the stage that you will be given a little barcode sticker that should be placed on your shirt on your chest. This will be used later on. Just keep track of that very important barcode sticker. And then you'll be moving on to the booth of the encoder to double check the information that you have submitted to PadLab. This encoder will basically encode into the system your personal details as well as send you a dummy email or a test email just to confirm your email address, because your email address will be the main form of communication in terms of sending you or sharing with you your results. And then the next step is to move on to the testing booths. There you will meet a nurse who will conduct your swab test. They will be inserting a stick basically with some sort of cotton swab into your nostrils, like really up there in the nasal cavity or so, and also into your throat. Sometimes they'll even take some sort of wooden, like a popsicle stick, to put your tongue down to help assist with opening up your mouth. Not the most comfortable experience, but it lasts for about a minute or so. So after your testing, you will be making your way to immigration. At immigration, they will be asking for your passport and your official receipt as well, I believe. And then they will be asking you to remove your face shield and mask so as to take a quick picture before they let you move on. Next thing I remember is making my way down the escalator towards the baggage claim area. But before you claim your bags, you must make your way to this line of booths with the DOT. Also, next to the DOT, you could book a hotel if you weren't able to do that before your flight. So with the DOT, you will have to give to them your passport, as well as your OR, your official receipt, and that little barcode sticker on your shirt. So what I've heard is that the DOT will usually ask you to paste this barcode on the back of your passport. At least that's what I heard from Discovery Premea. However, with me, they actually pasted it on my official receipt and then took a picture of it and returned to me. Do not lose your barcode sticker because this will be very helpful in obtaining your test results from testing facility. Also, the DOT will be the ones who will be informing you to submit your letter of affidavit to the Coast Guard before you leave the airport. After speaking with the DOT, you can then make your way to baggage claim, get your luggages. I found that all the passenger suitcases were already brought down from the carousel and just situated in 3 lines or so. As you're making your way out of the airport, make sure to keep your eye out for the Coast Guard, whom you will show your letter of affidavit to. After that, this is a good time to contact your transfer service driver or a taxi service. You could just speak with any of the guards there who would happily assist you to the taxi drivers available to bring you to your hotel. Again, your family members cannot take you home or take you to your hotel/quarantine facility themselves. This is one of the health and safety protocols apparently. And this tip, the last but certainly not the least, and applicable to all stages of this process from the planning, the booking, the traveling, and so on, is to pray. I owe to God that after months of self-isolation abroad, I'm finally back home with my family here in the Philippines. This pandemic, I believe, has brought so many challenges to us, especially in terms of traveling, and these hurdles cannot be overcome alone. I personally have found so much comfort and guidance with God around. So I find that it is very important to pray and leave it all to Him, as well as do your own part in making sure that your journey is as smooth as possible. I hope that for those of you watching this, that you have a safe journey home and that God leads your way. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to my channel. I post videos usually on fashion, beauty, and lifestyle, but I also just really thought that it would be important that I share what I've learned from trial and error and from other friends who have underwent trial and error to those of you who are trying to make their way back home to the Philippines. This has been Platinum Christy Madrid, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye!